You are now listening to WSN Wolf Sports Network, live from the University of West Georgia in Carrollton, now an Odyssey station.
It's a brand new season and the end of an era for sports out of pocket.
But to be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo, right here.
We bring you the craziest controversies.
Really, in hindsight, could have injured Mookie Betts. To me, that deserves a lifetime ban for a game.
Fire me up.
NBA Finals. Let me know. I think it's going to be the Nuggets and the Celtics this year.
I hate to say it, but Steven, you took the words out of my mouth.
And the final Twin Picks.
That's not a debate. That's not a debate. There's always a debate. There's always a debate. You can't debate Lamar Jackson.
And interviews you don't want to miss.
This is the Philly Sports Guy, and you're listening to Sports Out of Pocket.
This is former MLB All-Star Justin Masterson.
Hey, yo, what up? My name is Josh Martinez from Z100 New York.
The final ride starts now.
Let's go!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Sports Outta Pocket. We have the best crew you can possibly have of doing a sports show. We got Andrew, we have Chase, and we have a man that's on his phone right now behind the board, Mr. Jackson Bowles, and I am your host, Stephen Lambert. Don't have a lot of more times together, boys. I'm so happy for this last month, and these last few semesters we've done together, man. I'm trying to enjoy every single second of it. But today's kind of a little bit of a dark cloud episode because, man,
for you.
Shut up. Y'all are also y'all got beat. Y'all almost get swept by the Angels. I'm not trying to hear it. We suck, guys. The Braves are absolutely horrible. We're 0-6. We're about to be 0-7 tonight with Bryce Elder on the mound versus Blake Snell. Not a lot of good times for Braves fans right now, or just Atlanta fans in general, because the Hawks took a bad loss to the Portland Trail Blazers last night. So, sports-wise, not great. It's not great for Atlanta fans right now. But besides that, how's it going, guys?
I just want to say, at least we have Jerks and Profar.
Wait,
we'll get into that later.
Yeah, that's another thing.
I will throw this out there, though. Interesting stat that I found out today. Sports Out of Pocket this semester has uploaded more episodes than the Braves have scored runs. Wow.
That is very true. Very true.
Hey, you give yourself a high five, everybody. I'm the analytics guy. We are outscoring the Braves with our episodes.
I've drank more Cokes this week than the Braves have scored runs this entire season. So
Jackson
it's just,
has done more push-ups than the Braves have scored more runs.
It's horrible.
I can tell Jackson.
I mean,
I can
the guy with the best average on the team is Arzuna, right, with a 167. That tells you how bad it's been for us.
Hey, someone the Cardinals are doing pretty good.
Y'all just got swept. You got swept, didn't you?
To the Angels?
You
Yeah.
didn't even notice I muted you. I literally reached
knew.
across and muted your mic and you didn't even notice. Jay, where's your torso go?
Listen, I'll be honest with you. At this point, it feels like we're both going to miss the playoffs. So so we're both in the same boat.
We'll see.
It's too early.
Y'all are missing the playoffs, 100%. I can. If there's one thing I can guarantee, Cardinals are missing the playoffs this year.
Well, that's a Charles Barkley guarantee. In the words of Chris Sale, we still got time. Time's running out, actually. For me, and for my patience, anyways. Yeah. I'm losing sleep watching.
No
these late
days
night
off.
games.
I'm way off. You can take it off. Cardinals missed the playoffs.
That was a bar.
Poetry.
That was a bar right there.
That was my shout out to Shannon Sharp.
Hey, that was almost as good as Andrew's Valentine's Day poem he did a couple seasons ago.
Hey, that was some slam poetry. we need to get this thing going.
Fantastic stuff. Well, I think we need to talk about what Chase brought up in the fact that Profar, he's out for 80 days. Why? Let's get into it.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
We're in here talking about practice.
It's time for the latest sports controversies.
Yeah, I know we said we were probably going to bring it up earlier, but I feel like there's nothing more controversial for an Atlanta fan right now than what happened with
an Atlanta fan.
Jerks and Profar. Just MLB, sure, because there's been a topic of conversation of the fact that why is this still happening in the game of baseball today with PED usage. So if y'all haven't been keeping up to date with what's going on, Jerks and Profar, the outfielder that we signed in the offseason, we signed him for 3 years. I believe it was a $42 million contract. It was our big acquisition this year.
That was Alex Anthopoulos, money grab right
that
there.
was the big acquisition for the
really
for the Braves this year.
Outside of Cruz.
And with it. After 3-4 games, it just took one Padres series, and all of a sudden it came out that Jerks and Profar was tested positive for, I believe it was THC, which is a steroid that's basically meant to restart your natural testosterone level. So like testosterone that you lose over time as you age, it's supposed to restart that and to like develop testosterone again. So this is the same drug that Manny Ramirez was famously caught for back in like the when Manny Ramirez
2000s.
early 2000s. So this is the same drug that he was caught for. Again, why is this still happening? Why is this still happening in 2025?
Now that it's banned, it shouldn't be happening. But Chase, give us a little history lesson on this drug, because I think Profar was trying to get his batting average up in other places too. Well, no, it's why that drug specifically. Like, it ups your testosterone, like you said, Steven. But this drug specifically is for women in early pregnancy because it fertilizes the eggs in the uterus. That is the main source of this drug. So why this drug specifically? If you're going to use a PED at all, why that drug specifically? He's not just swinging the bat behind the plate, my friend. Because many drugs up your testosterone, so it doesn't have to be that one. I don't know if it's like less. I mean, it doesn't help you not get caught because, buddy, you're suspended half the season. And once he comes back in the second half, he can't play in the postseason anyways. Exactly. So, yeah, he's going to have to keep that batting average up somewhere else.
I have a hypothetical theory. Something threw me off. My bad.
Careful.
Jurickson Profar. So he was a guy who averaged 13 homers, 60 RBIs, and a 247 average before that breakout season with the Padres, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. I was looking at the stats earlier. In my opinion, I think he was taking those. Again, this is an opinion.
Last year.
This isn't.
It's not an opinion. That's a fact. He was caught for what he did last year.
Yeah, I'm talking about. I think that he was taking them. That's why his performance and stats spiked.
100%.
I think so, too.
I think you're absolutely right about that.
So,
But-
I was going to say, Steven brought up the question, like, who did we sign?
Yeah, we were talking about it yesterday. Is the fact that now I'm not really sure because he only had that one breakout season with the Padres last year. Without that, he's just a very average player. He's a guy that can probably get you 15 home runs and a guy that hits around 250, 260. To be honest with you, man, they weren't really helping him anyway because he was just as bad as the rest of our lineup was in that Padres series. I mean, getting hits here and there, not really hitting for a lot of power. It was just, we were all excited at the fact of a possible outfield tandem of Michael Harris, Acuna, and Jurickson Profar, and now we're not going to get that. And when we do, it doesn't really matter. Like, he can play for the second half of the season, but he's out for the playoffs if we make it.
And think about it. The same day that we found out about Profar's suspension is the same day we threw Renato Lopez on the IL. And now he's got to get surgery, which is going to torment
so
him
he's
for
out
the rest
for
of the
pretty
season.
much, people are saying that he might make it back of the season. I think he's out.
If
I think
he has
he's
like
done.
a Bryce Harper resurgence, maybe, but for pitchers, that's far more difficult. But Jackson, it's not just PEDs that might be up in the average. What else is going on in the MLB that might be spiking up?
If y'all haven't been paying attention to MLB opening week, famously used by the New York Yankees, there's a lot of controversy going around the MLB with torpedo bats. I wanted y'all's thoughts on it. In my opinion, I'm for it. There's no MLB written rule against it. Now, can there be a written rule like put in? Yes, we've seen it with juice balls, and juice balls were banned back in 2019.
That was the MLB's idea, too.
That was the MLB's idea as well. So torpedo bats, if y'all don't know what a torpedo bat is, it's where a certain part of the barrel is altered to where a specific player makes the contact or makes contact with the ball the most. Now, I want to get y'all's thoughts on torpedo bats because I'm 100% for it. Because the whole MLB is starting to use it.
I am too. We got a very heated conversation with the one and only Jason Barker. 2 triple threats. Because two triple threat members, and their stance on it is yes, it's within MLB regulations, but they don't think it's right ethically. But the way I see it is the Yankees analytic team might be the smartest people on planet Earth. They realized where their players were making the most contact last year. They made them custom bats where they put more wood on that area of the bat, and look how it's tremendously changed its offense. If it's within MLB regulations, and I'm an MLB organization, the only thing I care about is winning World Series. Ethics is out the window in sports. If you're playing within the rules, it is not wrong. Hold on, okay, but I applaud the Yankees. Why are people like flipping their lid over this? Because this is not the first time we've seen the torpedo bat. People are forgetting that Giancarlo Stanton used the torpedo bat in the postseason last last season, and his numbers did improve. He had 7 home runs in 14 games, and nobody was talking about it then. So why is it a subject of issue now? And it's not just hold on, I'll get to you in a minute, Jackson. It's not just every player that's using the torpedo bats either. Like, sure, you got your Jazz Chisholms, Stanton is still using
Ellie
it.
De La Cruz.
Okay, but Aaron Judge is still Aaron Judge, and he has not touched a bat at all. And there's other players, like Carlos Correa from the Twins, he refuses to touch a torpedo bat because he thinks there needs to be at least a full season of analytics needed. Because now, mind you, we are only judging this based off the opening week itself. We have not seen how the bats are going to fare through a 162-game season. And, by the way, I just want to throw this out there. The torpedo bats are not really as effective as the league thinks it are because they're overshadowed by what the Yankees did in that one Saturday game. The league batting average has actually dropped to the lowest it's been in 15 years, despite some of the league using the torpedo bats. And not every player is having success with it either.
Look, it's a 3-game set, and it was brought to light because the Yankees hit 9 homers against the Brewers.
Exactly.
That's what happened.
But that's the thing about it, though, is I'm totally fine if you think that the bats are going to be able to get you a little bit more power. I'm all for it because, listen, here's one thing that I'm sick of being as a Braves fan. I'm sick of wall scrapers. I'm sick of every time in a game to where we're sitting there, we feel like we hit the crud out of a ball. In the Padres series alone, we had at least 3 balls that just went straight to the wall and either got robbed or it just like died at the track.
Or it almost hit off of Tatis's glove, that one hit in Saturday's game.
Yeah, and then the Dodgers series, it's the same thing. Drake Baldwin had one that went straight to the wall. Matt Olson last night had another one that hit off, like barely missed a home run. So guess what? If the torpedo bats want to add like maybe just a few more feet to get over a wall, I'm all for it. Whatever it takes for your team to get back to the point to where y'all are getting on base. My whole thing is like, you can have different bats all day, but unless you're making contact, I'm talking to you, Austin Riley, that unless you're making contact, it's not going to matter at all.
He's a strikeout machine. You're right. You have to hit the ball for its effect to show on the stat sheet. So you're absolutely right. The Braves did put in a shipment order for it, though. And did several other MLB teams.
We'll see if it actually makes a difference. Right now, I'm just not confident in the team at all. Sure. But let's go ahead and get in some cash or trash.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
It's Sports Out of Pockets, cash or trash.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and go right into this segment. Chase, let's go ahead and start with you. What do you got?
Guys, it is the last couple weeks have been a nightmare for the Memphis Grizzlies. And this is a team that was kind of holding their own in the Western Conference. Just a couple weeks ago, they lost their head coach. They fired him, not because he was doing a bad job, but because he lost total control of the locker room. It was so bad that the ownership said, I've never seen a locker room presence this bad. I didn't even think twice before firing him. And I think what John Morant did last night kind of hints at this. Now, I don't want to talk about what John Morant did specifically.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to talk about the principle of it and the way the NBA is looking. I want to ask y'all a question. I want you to answer this. So, just for a little background, John Morant, he hit a clutch 3. He turned out the Warriors bench. I'm not going to redo this. I don't think it's that bad, but for controversy's sake, I'm not going to do it. He essentially made a gun symbol.
The finger gun symbol towards the Warriors. What was it? Warriors bench?
Warriors bench, yeah. We've seen it throughout several sports, too, not just basketball. And I want to get to that because Buddy Hield, the Warriors called timeout, and Buddy Hield did a gun symbol back to John Morant to mock at him, and then John Morant, of course, did another gun symbol back, and they both got texts. The NBA looked at this, and they're saying, hey, John Morant, we know your history about guns. We don't like you doing this gun symbol thing. We might have to suspend you. This is what I want to ask you, cash or trash. Is the NBA being unfair using John Morant's history against him for what he did? Because if you look all season long, there have been many NBA players that have made gun symbols this year, and the NBA didn't even glance an eye.
Again, but here's the thing. Did any of those other NBA players have the same history with that John Morant has? My whole thing with this is that I'm kind of on the side of the NBA here a little bit. You got to be smarter, man. Listen, if you want to sit there and talk trash to the bench, do what you got to do, man. You can do the on your head symbol. You can do the hey, it's me. Do LeBron. Whatever, man. Do the quiet symbol. The one symbol you should probably not be doing, especially with John Morant's history, is the finger gun symbol. I think it's a bad look, and I think it was just I'll be honest, not a too bright decision from John Morant.
I actually am in favor of NBA 2, and here's what I think it is. I don't think it actually has anything to do with John Morant's history, because look, John Morant paid the price for that. I think because he paid his price, we should put John Morant on a clean slate instead of history, and in terms of his personal history. But here's the main gist of it. Back in the 70s, you had Pistol Pete. That was his nickname for a reason, because every time he made a shot, he fired pistols in the air. You got to remember, that was the 70s. The world as a whole, especially in America, was not as gun violent as it is now. That has become a very sensitive subject when it comes to the America we live in today. So I think it's not necessarily because of Ja's history. It's because it's too much of a sensitive topic that even if you don't mean it in a violent way, it's gonna tug somebody's heartstrings in the wrong way, and you gotta keep everybody happy if you're an association.
Look, I think it's a mixture of both, because John Morant obviously is known for the history with the gun violence and everything, but when it comes to this specific situation, I'm on the the thing is, I am on the fence here, and the reason why is Buddy Hield did it too. I understand Buddy Hield doesn't have the same history as John Morant, but Buddy Hield did it too, and it's been done in the 70s. I know it's a societal thing where, again, as Andrew mentioned, today's society is a lot much more gun violent,
sensitive,
centered. So I'm on the fence here, but you just got to be smarter with the decisions you do, like Steven said. So I'm just,
I'll make my statement quick. What I think what the NBA should do here is look at John Morant, like, hey, listen, this has been done before. We know your history. I don't think they should suspend him, but I will say they should give him a stern talking to. Or a fine. Or maybe
Money
a
makes
little
everybody
fine.
shut up.
And let him know, we're not going to suspend you, but we also want you to know this is not okay. So that way, if he does it again, they can use this as lateral and go, okay, we gave you a chance. Don't do it again, because John Morant, he's been careless with guns in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, we remember the whole Pacers situation when the Pacers had a red laser pointed at their bench. They swore it came from John Morant's gun.
That was...
It's just stuff like that. It's just, be smart when you're in a sense like that, because the NBA's got eyes on you.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
All right, so I want to go ahead and transition into MLB discussion real quick.
Yep. Okay.
The one thing that I have been very ticked off of for the last few years, besides obviously how my team's doing, is balls and strike being called and human error in the game. And the one thing that the MLB has been trying to experiment with, especially in AAA, is it's called the ABS system, the automatic ball strike system, to where you can go ahead and go to this and you can have it challenged. This year already, I have seen some atrocious calls.
Especially in the Braves and Dodgers
My
series.
goodness. There have been some calls that have been on, where balls 2 feet outside, balls inside, balls low, umpires being inconsistent. And I know that a lot of people, it's been a discussion back and forth, because a lot of people aren't for the ABS system because they like the human error element of the game. My whole thing is, if I'd be fine, and I'd be kind of agreeant with you, if we weren't in a situation to where, if that call ends up costing us the game, I want the opportunity to go ahead and, because if that cost us the game, we've seen it in the past, you got to have an opportunity to challenge that and to go to the booth. So my whole thing is that, do you think that this ABS system should be implemented this season?
I would love to see it.
Well,
let's hear Jackson.
Yeah,
go ahead, Justin. Go.
So, we've had previous interviews with former big leaguers and minor leaguers that it's currently implemented in AAA, in the minors right now. And we had an interview with a minor league pitcher, and he said that he was 100% for it. Mm-hmm. And then I had an interview, I believe a couple weeks ago, with the MLB pitcher. He said he's not for it. So it's like because he likes the personal interpersonal connection, and it takes away from I guess the game you originally fell in love with. But
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. For this, you only get 3 a game, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So the thing is, if you get 3 a game, is it really taking away human error? Because you're only going to use it in the most critical situations.
Pretty
much.
I would agree. Yeah, what's so crazy is I went to a AAA game last year, and you're 100% right. Is that it only got used in for instance, Bryce Elder was pitching in the AAA game. It was in the second inning.
Bless your heart.
And there was a changeup that it was. I'll be honest with you, great changeup that finished at the bottom half of the zone. batter hit the ABS system. It was a great pitch that, like, the catcher framed real well. Went to the ABS, ball was 2 inches below the zone. So my whole thing with that is that, yes, you give and you take with this with this system, but at the end of the day, it's about perfecting the game, man. It's about being honest with ourselves, and, like, it's giving umpires accountability, which I have been calling for so long.
Look, and you're right, Steven, and the minors is a great way to test it. We saw the minors be the first one to initiate the green bases down the first base line, and now you see the MLB have it because of the safety measures.
MLB does have it.
I mean, college baseball. That's
does.
what I meant. College baseball have it, and I think it's soon going to get into the major leagues, just like the ABS system. And let's take a look at the statistics. During the minor league season and even the spring training season, 53% of those calls that were made were reversed, which goes to show that human error is kind of more on the wrong side than it is the right. And it goes both ways, too, because pitchers can also call for a pitch review if he thinks he threw a strike, but the ump caught a ball. So it goes both ways for the pitcher and the batter. So it keeps the playing field leveled with each other. So I think you're right, Steven. I think it's just trying to perfect the game more than it is taking away from the game.
Yeah, well, all right. We're going to go ahead and take a few moments to show some love to the other shows. When we come back, it's time to talk about how our fantasy baseball teams are doing.
This is former MLB All-Star Justin Masterson, and you're listening to Sports Out of Pocket on Wolf Sports Network.
Hey, do you want to be part of Wolf Sports Network?
Yeah!
Well, I have some good news for you because you can join us.
Woohoo!
So if you want to learn more about this, go to wolfsportsnetwork.com and click WIT Sports Program. With becoming a WIT, you expand your knowledge in the sports radio world and join our ever-growing family.
New face over there, you're not tripping. We got my guy JT over here shadowing the board. He's running through the WIT program right now.
Brandon, how you feeling, baby? Welcome to Sports
I'm feeling
Back.
great being on here for the first time.
And we can't wait to meet you once you join us.
Wolf Sports Network is content heaven for a sports fan, but their show Sports Pack is my personal favorite. Sports Pack airs on Mondays and Thursdays from 6 to 7 on Wolf Sports Network, filled with fresh personalities, funny moments, and piping hot takes, along with call-ins that allow listeners to get in on the action. Check out Sports Pack every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 7, only on Wolf Sports Network.
Over the horizon, a new show rises over Wolf Sports Network. To bring light to all things college sports. The Playbook, 6 to 7 p.m. every Tuesday on Wolf Sports Network. The Wolves play here.
It's a tale as old as time. All good things must come to an end. But this final ride is going to be legendary.
Oh, yeah.
More legendary than this.
Is this the dagger?
And this.
Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown!
So be sure to listen to Triple Threat every Friday starting at 11, only on Wolf Sports Network.
College students who binge drink alcohol at least 3 times per week were roughly 6 times more likely to perform poorly on a test or project as a result of drinking. That is why the Crafty Rabbit Meadery has joined Wolf Sports Network and Wolf Radio's Drink Responsibly campaign to remind students drinking should be done responsibly, and in an environment that discourages overindulging, faculty will not take hangovers as excuses. In 2023, the Georgia Governor's Office stated that 21% of adults have low literacy skills. The U.S. Department of Education reports that children with access to print reading materials have better literacy rates. Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network's ongoing book drive will provide a new or gently used book to every child at UWG's Pre-K Monthly. Give today by visiting wolfradio.com/book drive. That's wolfradio.com/book drive. Ladies and gentlemen, you see the shirt I got on right now? Well, guess what? We got a merch store, baby. If you want to rock the same type of material that I'm rocking right here, I'm going to show you how. When it comes to fandom, nothing matters more than the fit. The logo you wear solidifies your love. Now you can be a Wolf Sports Network fanatic with our brand new merch store, powered by Ozier Apparel. Visit wolfsportsnetwork.com and click About. All right, gentlemen, let's talk about our fantasy baseball teams.
Game one, hits it in the air to right. Back at the
And now it's time to talk about some fantasy baseball.
Steve, I actually want to interrupt you real quick and say I didn't know you were quite the model. I saw you on Instagram, posted yesterday.
The Wolf's. Hey, listen, ladies and gentlemen, Wolf Stock is coming up soon, and if y'all have not looked at Wolf UWG's Instagram page, your boy had a little bit of modeling, and I did it with my man JT, who's in the booth right now, man. And
my wolf has been stocked.
My stock has been wolfed.
It was a lot of fun, man. And hey, those pictures turned out great.
Oh, great. You have a business card? If I ever need modeling,
hey, look, I got you, man. You just let me know.
I know where to go.
Let's go ahead and talk about our teams. Mine sucks. How about y'all's?
I have a little beef with this guy to my right because he took me down by 22 points in that first matchup. But I got to say, I think I have the absolute steal of the draft with Jonathan India, who was just the newest, or one of the newest acquisitions for the resurgent Kansas City Royals that we saw last year. I think this is a great addition they got from the Cincinnati Reds, and he is off to a firing start. I mean, in the opening series against Cleveland, though the Royals kind of struggled to score runs in that game, he was a consistent hitter. He even scored 2 RBIs in the opening game against the Milwaukee Brewers, and that series gave me 7 points, and he is averaging almost about 3 points a game, man. Because the first couple of weeks of fantasy baseball is when you really start to figure out if the guys you picked late in the draft are really as much as a steal as you thought they were. And Jonathan India, he was one of my later picks, and he has not disappointed whatsoever.
Well, I'll talk about an early pick that really helped me take you down, Andrew. My first pick, the second overall pick in the draft, Aaron Judge, racking up 40 points.
And I can't even blame the Torpedo bat.
He went 6 for 11, 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, and 8 runs in just 1 week of matchups. And Andrew, you are right, my friend. He has a Plano normal bat. But if you want to talk about later picks, a guy I kind of reached for, I kind of forgot about to get a catcher, and this was like one of my later picks, was Keibert Ruiz for the Washington Nationals. Keibert, excuse me. Which, by the way, through week 1, he's the #1 ranked catcher in fantasy baseball, batting a .500 with 2 home runs and 3 RBIs. So that was my last position player picked, and so far he looks like a steal.
Bro, I want to talk about, you're talking about steals of the draft. I want to talk about steals that ended up in the waiver wires. Because my final pick of the draft was the #1 minor league prospect, Roman Anthony. He was projected to start opening day roster for the Red Sox, but I ended up dropping him, and I picked up somebody else who has hit 6 consecutive opening day homers, and I want to shout out this guy, former St. Louis Cardinal, Tyler O'Neill. Right now averaging 4.6 points, #1 in his position, has a .571 batting average, 1 homer, 5 RBIs, and has 23 points for me. And in my first week matchup, I ended up going against Phillip, and I beat him by guess how much?
1
point.
Oh, yeah, I know.
1 point, and it was 159 to 158, and I think that was genuinely thanks to Tyler O'Neill and a guy that everybody thought wasn't going to have a resurgence, but he had a great start to the season, and I'm talking about Mr. Jacob deGrom. In his return back from injury, in 5 innings pitched, only gave up 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts against the Boston Red Sox. And in my opinion, and I hope Steven was brought onto this wave, the Red Sox are still my American League champion.
Hey, and you know what? First of all, didn't your matchup come to the final at bat?
Yeah.
And I also want to say, we're all talking about steals, but Steven, to my left, has the best steal. He wasn't even a steal. I mean, this is just a guy that has panned out the way everybody thought. Freaking Rafael Devers, 15 strikeouts in his first 19 at-bats? That is insane,
Bro,
Steven.
that's a true steal. What are your thoughts on that?
Those are my thoughts, genuinely. Listen, man. I'm more ticked off. It's not even the fact that I'm not even ticked off about Rafael Devers. I mean, that's just sometimes that happens. Like some MLBs, man. Like it's you're either getting one half of the stick or you're getting the other. Rafael Devers went 0 for 19 with 15 strikeouts, and we also have the Braves who are going 0 and 7.
Yep.
That's the reality we're living in right now, and
Baseball.
it sucks. The thing that ticked me off even worse is guess who else I had? I had Mr. Jurickson Profar, and he's out for 80 days.
And
then that same day, I had Reynaldo Lopez go out on the IL. And my whole thing is like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to go ahead and go to the waiver wires here, and then I'll be able to do it in the next 24 hours. It takes 5 days for that to process. So I am playing shorthanded here.
Hey,
I have a blank on the
talks
outfield
with
and I
our
have a
GM.
blank on the pitcher. This is insane. Like I'm it might as well have just been like going into this matchup with like an arm cut off. That's how it is. Like Christian is absolutely killing me right now. 120 to 67. The pitchers aren't doing that great either. Luis Castillo not been great for his first 2 starts, giving up about 5 earned runs at his 2 starts. Gore not able to grow on the momentum he had last week. He had 30 points for me. This week 3 points, so not great for him. It just is what it is, man. You go in, you think you have a great team drafted, and then circumstances that are just unforeseen, and now all of a sudden, like I feel like I'm one of the worst in the league. It's just that's how it happens, man. It sucks.
You are the Atlanta Braves in terms of fantasy baseball, but I will say something that I am very happy about in terms of how I drafted my team is I went really heavy towards this Padres rotation. Now it's not typically wise to go after multiple players on the same roster, but I don't think that rule applies when it comes to pitching because it gives you a consistent rotation where you're always going to get one guy, it seems like every other day or maybe every single day, at least one guy from that team. And the Padres roster, I have Dylan Cease and Nick Pivetta, and both those guys have been tearing up the mound. The Padres as a whole are 6-0 for the first time in franchise history. They actually broke that record when they went 5-0, and yes, they swept the Braves. But Dylan Cease and Nick Pivetta, they're going to be my 2 backbones in this rotation. And I got Kevin Gausman in there, and I also have Bryce Miller, but I have to be honest with you guys, the Mariners rotation is kind of off to a disappointing start. There's a lot of hype around that 4-man rotation in Seattle, but they have really struggled, especially in that series against the Athletics to start the season. But then again, this is the opening week. You can't ever judge how the league's going to fare in just 1 week because it's a 162 game season.
In terms of my pitching, Spencer Schwelbach was my second pitcher taken right behind Michael King. And Schwelbach's first appearance, of course, 6 innings pitched, only gave up 1 hit, 4 strikeouts, 20 points, and he's pitching this Friday in the home opener against the Marlins.
Which will be there.
But another Braves guy that I kind of reached for in the waiver wire, got him 5 days later, was Grant Holmes, which I'm hoping that I get more out of them up until Spencer Strider makes a return. But of course, I first started the Dodgers 4 earned runs, 4 walks, 4 hits, -3 points. But the real guy I want to talk about is Chandler Simpson. He has no stats to his name, but Chandler Simpson we trust.
Honestly,
that's a joke, by the way.
Well, I'm looking at you're on the topic of pitching, correct?
Yes.
There's a couple guys I want to shout out. Now, my current rotation is Jacob deGrom, Jack Flaherty, Max Fried, Tanner Houck, Cole Reagans, who just put up 16 points for me today against the Milwaukee Brewers, and Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray has looked fantastic.
Yes. I love Robbie Ray.
He has with a 1-0 record, 4 strikeouts, has a 5.06 ERA. Right as of right now,
right?
Because it's only opening week. And then I got 2 guys right now on my IL who are probably going to replace Robbie Ray. Ranger Suarez and Shane McClanahan. I still have those 2 guys for my pitching rotation. So, Steven, if you're looking for a pitcher...
trade talks right now?
Robbie Ray is up on the board.
No.
All right, trade talks over.
Why not?
I got a question for you guys. Take a look at Mookie Betts, my #1 overall draft pick, and if you guys follow Dinger Dudes, a show that we all do on the side of Wolf Sports Network shows, Mookie Betts was my MVP take. And even though a strange illness came upon him where he lost over 10 pounds, and it was when I say strange, it was a strange illness. I don't even think there was a direct diagnosis for it.
They said for 2 weeks he couldn't keep any solid food down.
But you know what he also can't keep?
Did you just say that?
I don't know. But you know what he also can't keep? Balls in the ballpark. Because that dude is raking the baseball. He's got a total of 3 home runs, 6 RBIs with a 375 average. Not only is he bolstering my fantasy team, my MVP pick is looking phenomenal right now.
Now, bringing up, before we transition topics, is there any guys on the waivers that you think everybody who's doing fantasy baseball should pick up, like start and sits, Chase?
Matter of fact, he's sitting on my waiver right now. I'm trying to get him, by the way, but I'm just praying that nobody else puts an offer for him. But he's in the outfield, and that's a Brave for the Red Sox. He is listed as the number 2
Brave, yeah.
Yeah, he right now he's batting a .636, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 32 overall fantasy points. That's 8 behind Aaron Judge. And Steven, if you try to outbid me, Steven, I will go to the death to get this guy because I'm in need of some outfielder help.
1,000?
That's all you got.
You win, Steven.
Do you know how desperate I am? Brother, you don't mess with me, bro. I will pay. Brother,
hey,
okay,
man,
there's 2 guys right
now. If you lay
okay.
1,000 down, I can get him.
There's 2 guys, right? Like, so there's, obviously I need a replacement for a pitcher, and I'm going to go after Eric Getty for the Astros. I think he's, pretty good, very consistent. Last year, man, last year there was a time to where, like, he was a little inconsistent. Sometimes he would get in the negatives. But on the times that he was on, my goodness, this guy can go. Like sometimes he would go 7 innings. The strikeouts are up there. So Aaron Getty's a guy that I'm looking at to get in the waivers. I'm just hoping nobody outbids me.
I guess it's time to move on, Steven. Let's
all right, let's go ahead and get into that roster roulette.
This is roster roulette.
All right, so I guess we're going to go ahead and start off with mine. My roster roulette this week. Ladies and gentlemen, it is designated hitters.
Start Steven, bench Chase, cut Jackson.
Yeah, 100%, bro. My whole thing with designated hitters is there's obviously one that's missing on this list. I just didn't want to put Shohei Ohtani here just because I felt like that's an obvious start.
It's everybody's start.
That's an obvious start. A 50-50 season from Shohei Ohtani last year when he was just DH. Dear goodness. I mean, that's an obvious, we go ahead and let's start him. But this one right here is very interesting because, I mean, it depends on what you like. If you like power, that's Frank Thomas and that's David Ortiz. But if you like a guy that was just raking the ball and was able to get on base and be a team player, that's Mr. Edgar Martinez in 1995. And, hey, we like that year, 1995.
Yeah, we did.
Before I was born.
Put a ring on it.
3 years before I was born, but the Braves did win the World Series that year. But like I said, man, great seasons for all of these guys, and I'm just getting your opinion. Who do you like? Start, bench, cut?
I'm going to use Ohtani as a comparison model, actually, because I think that's going to help me pick which one's the closest to that play style. And the one that catches my eye immediately is Edgar Martinez because of that .356 batting average. I think from a designated hitter who normally is a guy that displays the most power on the team, to get on base that consistently is incredible. That's not who I'm going with because I think out of all 3 of these glorious men right here, the one that mirrors Ohtani's 50-50 season the most in terms of legendary status is 06 David Martinez. You give me a guy who's batting...
Martinez?
I was just talking about Edgar. Yeah, you can't mix the 2 together. They don't make babies. But David Ortiz, if you give me a guy that has close to a 300 batting average, but it's giving you 50-plus home runs and almost 140 RBIs, that's as close to a 50-50 type season you're going to get. I mean, that's downright insanity. And then next to him, I'm going to go Frank Thomas because those numbers are the most close to David Ortiz. The home run numbers are a little bit low. It's only 9 less, and he actually got over 140 RBIs, and the average is, again, right at 300.
No.
Did you get something wrong?
Yeah, the only thing I got wrong for Frank Thomas was the average. And his average is not a 287.
It better be good.
It's a 328.
Oh my
gosh.
Give me Edgar Martinez on my bench then. Screw that. 350. I'm gonna need a guy above I'm gonna need a guy at least above 250. Give me Edgar Martinez because he's giving you a 30 home run season, 113 RBIs with an insane 356 average. And Frank Thomas, I don't want to say cut because he looks, dude, those muscles are scaring me. But Mr. Frank, you're not on my team.
Frank Thomas had a 328.
Yeah, okay, so that just changed everything. A 328 average with
Frank
almost
Thomas.
50 home runs.
Wait, he said 328?
Yeah.
I think he said 230.
No, your window's closed.
No, then Frank's on my bench.
Your window's closed. Thanks, buddy. Your window's closed. Frank Thomas, I mean, look at that guy. If that guy, I know y'all see it on the screen. If that guy stepped up to plate, you got me messed up if you think I'm throwing a pitch to Frank Thomas. Intentional walk every single time. Oops. Frank Thomas, you will absolutely get the
Frank
start.
dead? Because I don't want him to kill me. Is he dead?
Nope.
What?
Hey, do you want to know what his nickname is? The Big Hurt.
Well,
So
even
you
if he's
better
dead,
run away,
Joey's
bro.
gonna find him on his paranormal show. So I'm screwed.
Straight up.
Yeah, I heard he wanders around the Oaks, but he also wanders into my starting lineup. And then, secondly, this is going to be crazy to say, Edgar Martinez is going to be on the bench because of just the consistency of that 356 average.
I
And
just
don't
forgot
act like
to
he didn't have any
change
power
the
to his
bat
bat. He absolutely had power behind his bat. And it says weird to say because he had
He had
54 home
power
runs.
behind his bat.
But based on the lineup you're giving me, David Ortiz has to get cut. David Ortiz. David
What is
Ortiz.
happening with the names,
David
guys?
Ortiz. Guys, I can't handle it. It's so many
So
names.
David Ortiz is cut for you?
Oh, yeah.
And then
And it's weird to say, but
wow.
Frank
54
Thomas.
homers doesn't do it for you?
Hey, no, I'm thinking of like if I'm building my team.
What tickles your fancy, dude?
What tickles my fancy is the muscles of Frank Thomas, that number one with that high batting average as well, and he has almost the same homers as David Ortiz. And then next, I mean, 54 home runs. It's give or take for me, but I'm just taking the high batting average for consistency. And Ortiz, he'll be fine. I mean, it's Big Poppy. You don't need me.
So I'm looking at these three. Frank Thomas, just to let you know, let's preface this. 328 batting average, not a 287. Get it right, Andrew.
He has a 328? Well, that changes everything.
Get it right, Andrew. Anyways, Frank Thomas has a 328 batting average,
Not the one that
43
made that.
homers, 143 RBIs, 625 slugging. David Ortiz, 287, 54, and then Edgar Martinez. It's for high contact.
Why did you put some respect on David Ortiz?
54, 137, and you're just acting like that's nothing.
Dude, I do that in my
287,
backyard.
bro. So right now I'm looking at this. I'm starting.
I do that on the show every day.
I'm starting Frank.
Come on, man.
So
I get
I'm
70
looking at
home runs
this.
in my sleep.
That changes everything.
Jackson,
whoever created this needs to be fired.
If I give you a torpedo bat, you're not hitting 54 balls past the infield.
Whoever created this graphic needs to be fired.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
Whoever did that, I'm gonna start Frank Thomas. I'm gonna bench Edgar Martinez, and then it's very close. When I'm gonna cut David Ortiz.
That's
It's
the same list I had.
It's very
awful.
close, but it's
Awful.
you made
I
it
had.
sound like 54 home runs was not.
No, I'm just looking at.
I
the
at least
batting
gave
average,
respect
bro.
to David Ortiz.
David
Oh,
Ortiz.
man.
is a
David
Hall of Famer,
Ortiz.
Yeah, I know.
This is tough for me. This is honestly because I'll be honest, man. I like a guy that can that can get
like a
that
guy,
can-
huh?
that 54 homers is like I love David Ortiz, man. But Frank Thomas, I'm gonna go ahead and start Frank Thomas because I like that 328 average with the 43 plus homers. It just tells you that he was very consistent. David Ortiz, like I said, man, he's a high strikeout guy, so like that 287 average doesn't shock me a lot. I mean, he was just a guy that he was either hit a home run or he's striking out.
Yep.
But I just love David Ortiz so much. So like I got it like just for the love of the game. I know Edgar Martinez had that's actually considered to be one of the best designated hitter seasons ever before
356?
obviously Shohei Ohtani. Because I mean that's an absolutely ridiculous average to have throughout an entire season. 356. That's Luis Arias.
When do you
numbers.
ever see designated hitters?
Yeah,
getting
it's
those
crazy.
numbers?
But
Hang on. They used Steven's picture for Frank Thomas and thought we wouldn't notice. Come on now.
that is not great. So I'm going to go ahead, controversially, I think I'm going to go ahead and bench David Ortiz, and I'm thinking I'm going to cut Edgar Martinez.
Ooh.
That's a tough cut.
This is a good list. I applaud you.
That's
This is
a
a good
tough
list.
cut.
This is a good lineup.
So I want to toss it to my roster roulette next, and I'm also bringing in a Seattle Mariner who hit high for contact, and these are MVP seasons, and the two.
Are we sure these batting averages are right?
Yes, these
Are
are
we
all
sure
correct.
the home run
These
numbers are right?
Ichiro's numbers,
These
bro.
are all correct. So right now I'm looking at this, and
Did he play a full season?
yeah, he played a full season.
He won the
Just
MVP?
like he won the MVP and he won Rookie of the Year that same year.
The average is crazy. Don't get me wrong. The
Yeah.
average is
But
insane.
8 home runs,
But,
69
I
RBIs.
forgot to add the stolen bases. He had 56 stolen bases that season.
Okay, he needs a torpedo bat.
So yeah.
Well, I mean,
and then
Andrew
I have-
Suzuki's not a big
and
home
then
run
I
guy,
have-
so it's not shocking.
It's
Just the
a-
RBIs are
yeah.
low, too.
Yeah. And then I had 2006 Ryan Howard and Albert Pujols. Now, there's been a whole conversation with big power bat guys in the late 2000s with Josh Hamilton, Prince Fielder, Ryan Howard, Albert Pujols, Miguel Cabrera, and I should have thrown Josh Hamilton on instead of Ichiro, but time crunching. But since you threw in a contact guy, I want to throw in Ichiro Suzuki.
Listen, I completely applaud you for it. Listen, as far as leadoff hitters go, and just like guys that are like some of the best hitters in the history's game, like Ichiro Suzuki, that's kind of like what Luis Arias is. Luis Arias isn't a guy that's going to get you like 15 home runs in a season, but he's a guy that's going to be very consistent for you, a guy that's going to be like one of the top 5 in averages when the season ends, and that's what Ichiro Suzuki is. That's why he is a Hall of Famer. That's why he is a legend. But like I said, man, like, considering what the other two are bringing to the table, Ichiro Suzuki is my cut. Yeah. As much as I love Ichiro Suzuki,
me too.
Man, Ryan Howard. If y'all just remember, Braves fans in early, like in the late 2010, like early 2010s, like late 2000s, man. Ryan Howard was just a guy you did not want to see up at the plate. Ryan Howard was insane power, but I think Ryan Howard's got to go on my bench here because Albert Pujols' 2008 season was unbelievable.
Oh, I know.
357 average, 116 RBIs, 37 home runs. There is a reason why Albert Pujols is a legend in this game. It's why he's a Hall of Famer. And Albert Pujols, it's like you said, he's only like what, like a member 5 of the 700 home run club.
Which is crazy.
Like I think there's only like 4 or 5 members in that club altogether. So just Albert Pujols for me gets my start.
Yeah. By the way, has not been caught for PEDs and has
played the game the right way.
Yeah,
I love it. I respect it.
He's like Hank Aaron. He's like Hank Aaron.
I respect it. I respect Albert Pujols a lot.
But I'm gonna make my quick because I know we're low on time. Ichiro Suzuki, I have nothing but respect for him. Hall of Famer. There's a reason why he's getting his jersey retired at the by August of this season. It's gonna be a very great moment for him. I'm happy for that guy. He's getting my cut if we're going based on these numbers right here. But Steven, this is where I disagree with you.
Okay.
I'm making Ryan Howard my starter simply because he was too shy of 60 home runs. He was the Aaron Judge before Aaron Judge was Aaron Judge. And he almost had 150 RBIs to go along with it. And that 313 average, anything over 300, and you're giving me close to 60 home runs, is going to be enough to pull me in my starting lineup. And then Albert Pujols, love the guy, one of my favorite players of all time. I know Jackson can speak that true more than I can, but he's going to have to get my bench.
Andrew, I had the exact same list for the exact same reason. Add the highest slugging percentage for Ryan Howard out of everybody. And yeah, it's just in terms of that, it was why I have Ryan Howard ahead of Albert Pujols. Yeah, Suzuki gets a cut. Just obviously great player, but in terms of who he's going up against, he just doesn't.
The numbers just don't weigh.
They don't weigh the same.
Look, I got to cut Suzuki. I only threw in a contact guy because I saw Steven throw in a contact guy, and Suzuki had a fantastic season.
It's not wrong.
Not to discredit his 56 stolen bases while winning Rookie of the Year as well.
Yes.
I think he's one of the only players to ever do that in MLB history. Rookie of the Year and MLB. It should have been MVP, and it should have been Aaron Judge in 2017. That's a debate for another day. But when it comes between 06 Ryan Howard and 08 Pujols, I got to throw my bias aside. I'm looking at this.
Yeah.
Again, a guy, he was 2 homers shy of 60. And then you have Pujols who, again, that batting average is absolutely insane while pushing over 30 homers, 116 RBIs. But I'm going to bench Pujols, and I'm going to start Ryan Howard.
Oh, yeah, listen, totally fine. Like I said, 2 shy of 60 is absolutely incredible.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally respectable, even though that I'm right and y'all are wrong. We're going to go ahead and go give some love to the other shows. When we come back, man, it's time to get fired up because what is going on with the Braves?
Hey, yo, what up? My name is Josh Martinez from Z100 New York, and you're listening to my dudes from the Sports Out of Pocket on the Wolf Sports Network.
Hey, do you want to be a part of Wolf Sports Network?
Yeah!
Well, I have some good news for you because you can join us.
Woohoo!
So if you want to learn more about this, go to wolfsportsnetwork.com and click WIT Sports Program. With becoming a WIT, you expand your knowledge in the sports radio world and join our ever-growing family.
New face over there, you're not tripping. We got my guy JT over here shadowing the board. He's running through a WIT program right now. Brandon, how you feeling, baby? Welcome to Sports
I'm feeling
Pack.
great being on here for the first time.
And we can't wait to meet you once you join us.
Wolf Sports Network is content heaven for a sports fan, but their show Sports Pack is my personal favorite. Sports Pack airs on Mondays and Thursdays from 6 to 7 on Wolf Sports Network, filled with fresh personalities, funny moments, and piping hot takes, along with call-ins that allow listeners to get in on the action. Check out Sports Pack every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 7, only on Wolf Sports Network.
Over the horizon, a new show rises over Wolf Sports Network. To bring light to all things college sports, The Playbook, 6 to 7 p.m. every Tuesday on Wolf Sports Network. The Wolves play here.
Wolf Sports Network and Wolf Radio are coming together for the concert event of the year.
Wolfstock, baby!
That's right, Wolfstock is back with great music and fun games and a great time for everyone around. April 21st, 6 to 9 in the Campus Center Ballroom. So come out for a good time. Wolfstock 2025 is brought to you by Flagship Carrollton, Dine West, The Orchard, Illuminated Productions, and American Pie Pizzeria. Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network are proud to boost literacy rates with our pre-K book drive. Our ongoing book drive will provide a new or gently used book to every child at UWG's Pre-K Monthly. Give today by visiting wolfradio.com/book drive. Together, Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network will make a brighter future. Visit wolfradio.com/book drive. In a recent survey, almost 53% of full-time college students ages 18 to 22 drank alcohol in the past month. That is why the Crafty Rabbit Meadery has joined Wolf Sports Network and Wolf Radio's Drink Responsibly campaign, reminding you that there is no drinking under the age of 21. Never drink and drive, even if it's one beer. And add food and water when you drink so you don't end up texting your ex, which means know your limits. Ladies and gentlemen, we got merch, baby. We have merch. Hats, shirts. Man, even if you want, you might get some shoes. I don't know. That's an idea that's been thrown around. If you want shoes, go ahead. Let's DM and we can make it work. But when it comes to the fandom, nothing matters more than the fit. The logo you wear solidifies your love. Now you can be a Wolf Sports Network fanatic with our brand new merch store powered by Ozier Apparel. Visit wolfsportsnetwork.com and click about. Man,
Just
I'm telling
wait.
you, listen, man, I'm furious. That's why I'm jumping over my words
Just
here.
wait
And
till
you know
that-
why I'm furious? Because it's time to get fired up, baby.
I am having a very bad day. I am in no mood. This is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
Fire me up.
They're choking. 0 wins in 7 games, and I'm gonna go ahead and call it tonight. We're losing tonight. Bryce Elder is on the mound. We don't have Michael Harris in the lineup. What do we have? Fairchild, fantastic. Eli White, I think, is in the stinking lineup. We are going to lose
Nick
tonight.
Allen.
We're gonna get swept by the Dodgers, and we're gonna have to go into Friday. I'm gonna have to stew over my anger on Thursday. We're gonna go into Friday and have to hope to God, to the baseball gods, whoever controls this stuff, to hopefully get a win over the Marlins. And I'm not even confident about that, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know when we're gonna get our next one. We might go 0-20. That is how bad this team has been. The best average on this team is 167. That's just a little taste, because I got a lot more to say. But as of right now, let's go ahead and start off with maybe something a little bit more positive, because one team that's kind of shocking a lot of people, they actually got their first sweep of the season, Cardinals.
You know, as a Cardinals fan,
That's enough out of you.
No, hold on. I don't get to say a lot of positive things about the Cardinals, but they're looking pretty good. The bats and the starting pitching, the bullpen is the only really issue. They look fantastic through the first 3 games with the Twins. They look great with bats and starting pitching through the next 2 games against the Angels. Unfortunately, that bullpen caught up with them towards the later innings. Still putting up 7 runs in the latest game against the
What can I say, man? You went up.
season.
What can I say, man? You
win
went up against
some,
Ron Washington.
You lose some. Ron Washington is a great coach.
And Travis
Yeah, I
Darno.
know.
I remember him and Jorge Soler
And Nicky Lopez.
And Ian
Yeah.
Anderson, which,
Yeah.
by the way, gave us 6 hits today. I don't know if y'all saw that. 50 pitches, 6 hits. Good inning for Ian Anderson.
Yeah,
He fits right into our bullpen.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, but you know, I'm liking the start of the season for the Cardinals so far. We'll see what happens, but you know, toss it to the Braves fans.
Oh, Jackson, we are so happy for you.
You are?
we are so happy for
You
you,
are?
that you're winning games, because the Atlanta Braves, everything. If I went to bed before the season, I turned the lights off. I put monsters on my ceiling,
Really?
forcing myself to have a nightmare. I could not have dreamed of a worse start than what the Braves are going through right now. Because not only are we 0-6, it's what's happening on the inside. Jerickson Profar is out 80 games with these PEDs like we talked about earlier in the show. We're losing Renato Lopez for multiple months because of shoulder inflammation, which you have to get surgery on. We already DFA'd Hector Neris, thank the Lord.
You also
And
DFA'd Jesse Chavez.
Jesse Chavez is gone, and now we're dealing with just
Zach Thompson. You got Zach Thompson, bro.
I know, man. It's just, when is it going to end? Because Austin Riley, he sucks right now at the plate. He Strikeout
can't make
machine.
contact to save his life. Brian De La Cruz, who actually was not bad with Pittsburgh last year, so far he sucks, and we have no choice but to stick with him right now. Nick Allen and freaking Arcia is great. Defensively in the infield, but at the plate, we get nothing from either of them.
Nick Allen's like RCA if he put too much sunscreen on and decided to go to the library instead.
Sure, actually, yes. Great
He's the same
comparison.
guy. He's the same guy. But and this is kind of my issue with the Braves right now. We've seen this before in terms of like the Braves never start off on the right foot.
Nope.
We have always been a late May, early summer. That's when the wheels start turning. But things are different this year because things don't usually graduate from bad to worse to just simply rock bottom, and that's what we're seeing right now. And it's a little strange when you see new guys like Drake Baldwin have some of the best quality at bats you would ever see from a young guy, but nothing turns of his favor. I mean, you've got guys leaping over into the stands to grab pop-ups from Drake Baldwin. You have him twice. It happened in the Padres series where he'd hit the pitcher and it would shoot right towards the first baseman or right towards the shortstop for an easy out. It's just unfortunate events just keep on collecting on top of themselves, and it's frustrating. We can't see it anymore, or I can't stand it anymore. And another thing is the Braves bullpen. We already knew going into the season how much of a hit the Braves bullpen took, but then so you had to be reliant on these starters to go 5 or 6 innings deep. But when it doesn't happen, you're forced to interchange guys, and you want to keep talking about the bullpen is something that none of us have mentioned yet. Jesse Chavez, who finally got his start after returning back to the Atlanta.
We did mention that.
Okay, well, going after making his first start back with the Atlanta Braves against the Dodgers with 2 innings, gave up a couple runs, but didn't look as bad as some of the other starts that we've had so far. And then he got DFA'd, so it's no longer Jesse Chavez.
Andrew, so I'm looking up. I want to throw out a hypothetical. You say you're having outfield problems, relief problems.
Bad.
You know, there's guys in for the Gwinnett Stripers right now. Amos Willingham, and then you got your outfield. You got Jake Marisnik.
They're not ready. They're not ready.
Jake Marisnik has always been ready.
Look, Marisnik will come up and hit about 0-20 for us. Like that's just listen. That's not a problem solver. We also have Alex Verdugo that's on our bench.
Yep. Yeah.
We have like Fairchild. They're trying to basically just like there's a big leakage that's happening. Like the pipe is bursting, okay, and we're trying to fix it with duct tape. We're just trying to stick anything to the pipe to make sure everything just like ends. It's not happening. There's not a fix-all situation with this ball club right now. Y'all are going after guys like Nick Allen. Y'all are going after guys like Drake Baldwin. Y'all are going after guys that are at the bottom of this lineup that I didn't expect to do anything in the first place. Here's what you need to be going after. About our guys that we know have been in our lineup for the last few years that can't do a dadgum thing at the plate right now. Riley sucks. 0.95, the man is swinging at a curveball like he is swinging with a golf club. I've seen better swings from my 90-year-old grandmother swinging her cane in her house than I've seen Austin Riley swing a baseball bat right now. Ozuna can't even get a pitch to hit right now because they're walking him every time he steps up to the plate. And when he does have situations where there's runners in scoring position, no hits are being had. Ozzie Albies, same thing. Runners in scoring position, nothing to be had. The only hit, we have had 1 hit in the first 7 games for the Braves. 1 for 32 with runners in scoring position to start off the season. You want to bring why we're losing ball games? There's your reason right there. We're not hitting. We're not hitting. This entire club, 1 through 9, is not doing a thing at the plate right now. And that is why it is so frustrating as a fan. It is so frustrating to look at this team who 2 years ago set a franchise record for most home runs, set a franchise record for being one of the best offensive clubs ever in the game. And then you're coming in and everybody's just like, oh, well, the 2 best teams in the league, it's the Padres and the Dodgers, man. We have to lose games. We're going to lose games like this. Y'all are the Braves. You're a top 5 ball club. Yeah. We're acting like the Dodgers and the Padres are just this god-tier team that nobody can touch, that nobody's going to be able to reach the echelon.
The Dodgers, I understand, but the Padres?
Padres, they're 6-0. They are about to sweep the Cleveland Guardians. But listen, it doesn't matter. Y'all are the Braves. Y'all need to compete with teams like this because guess what? If you want to win another ring, those are the teams you're going to have to beat. And I understand. It's April, okay? I'm getting all frustrated because it doesn't really matter. We can go 0-10, and we can still get hot in June, and we can still get to the point to where the Braves can make the playoffs. But right now, I'll be honest, with the way that this offense is performing, I'm not confident with any team we play. The Marlins, the Athletics, anybody can come into our ball club right now and beat us.
You're right. And you got to look at Chris Sale, Spencer Schroebach, the performances they had no run support. Those are 2 easy wins we could have had, but our bats let them hanging.
But all right, I'm glad I let that out. Y'all got to understand, this is therapy for me.
That's good.
I needed to let that off because it's been horrible.
This is good.
It has been horrible to watch.
This is good.
But with all that being said, man, that's all the time we have for next week. We have an interview with the name's escaping. Sorry.
Former NFL linebacker, former West Georgia linebacker Tyrell Adams.
Tyrell Adams. So y'all make sure y'all are tuning in for that because we're not going to have a live show next week. Studio's going under some renovation, so we're not going to be on. So we will be back on our live regular show Wednesdays at 5 in 2 weeks. Make sure y'all are tuning in to Sports Pack tomorrow 6 to 7 and Triple Threat on Fridays at 11. Great stuff. Wolf Sports Network's putting out. But with all that being said, we will see you all next time.